Ending the bond with trauma. It is time to end the bond with your trauma. You know, when we're younger, our trust is broken. We're taught not to trust. And we're taught that through pain. This time is asking us, this frequency modulation is taking us to a higher plane of existence. And now we have to end the karmic relationship that we've had for so many lifetimes with trauma. The inner child has been beaten and bruised and does not trust. And if that inner child cannot trust, then you cannot end the bond with your trauma. You know, to be bonded to something is to be tied to it. To be, how should I say this? To be in union with it. There's no other way to say it, but to understand and understand that to be bonded means to be in union, to be tied to. And so it's like when you're bonded out of jail, you know, you cannot leave. You cannot go anywhere. You must stay in a certain area. So if you're bonded to the trauma, you're tied to it. You can't leave it. You can't alleviate it. This is so significant right now because as these divine unions are coming into being, the divine masculine is being asked to end that trauma, to leave it where it was, to leave it where it's laying. Get up and walk away from it. This could be one of the most hardest things you've ever done. But yet, it will be the most profound thing that you could do right now. This is the beginning of the end of your karmic relationship to this world, to this cycle. My last vid I posted, I talked about that this is the beginning of the end, right? That you are a soul. Soul are you. Because you are a soul, are being. And the soul energy that's being harvested right now, that is being reaped right now, is the soul energy you give. The soul energy you allow to leave you. And if you will allow yourself to become the better version of you, then you can bring in the lost parts of self, the lost parts of soul. You can remember yourself or put yourself back together again. So right now, it's so important to end your bond with your trauma. When we are children, we're taught not to trust through pain. The bond that we've had with the trauma, it is because we're not able to trust that the new will be better. The karmic relationships that a lot of divine masculines have endured and have went through were based in mistrust. And a lot of times we think that we decide on relationships and we go into unions based on eyesight, based on our root chakra energy, our sacral chakra energy. In other words, we feel something down low and we think, oh, this is the one for me. But we don't understand that that is based in trauma. We're not just going off a physiological emotion or feeling. We're actually moving from a place of trauma. We are seeking out the thing that we are constantly thinking about, that we're constantly meditating on. Whether you realize it or not, that bond that you've had with trauma is the reason why you're even in a soul contract. Ending the soul contract begins with ending your bond with the trauma. So as we are going into the new, not the new year, we're dying, because we know that the new year is not at the end of December. That's man's time. The universal time says that the new year begins in the spring, when the sun dies and is reborn. So just like the sun or the soul goes through cycles, we go through cycles. And in this new soul cycle, we're being asked to end our bond with the trauma. Because if we end our bond with the trauma, we're able to go into the new soul cycle, karma free. No more being held back by the old, insignificant trauma. That version of ourselves is ready to die, ready to go away. But if you keep looking for the old to replay, and this is in the subconscious, you're probably unconscious of this, or you may be conscious of it. But when you look for the things that have always happened to happen, you're asking for the old to replay itself. You're asking for the old karma energy to be what it was for you. And sometimes that karmic energy, we're so used to it, it feels like home. That karmic energy feels like home. It feels so good to sort of know what's going to happen. And we're not realizing that that old karmic energy, that old trauma, that bond with that trauma is preventing the bond with our union, with our twin, with that twin soul. The ascension process happens, like just the word process. Ascension happens in process. That's what I mean to say. Ascension happens in a process. It happens in steps. So you can't expect to ascend in one moment. You're there. Boom. It happened. You have to understand that moment by moment, piece by piece, we're remembering ourselves. We're putting ourselves back together. The remembering, right, is you realizing, seeing with your real eyes or your real eye, that you are incomplete. You're not whole. Not that another person makes you whole, you make yourself whole. And with you understanding that, you're able to now progress up the ladder of ascension. You're able to enter the gates of heaven because you're no longer residing in hell. You're no longer residing in your lower chakras. You're no longer standing in the fire, the lake of fire, which is constantly burning. See, the purification process is the ascension process. You're purifying your mind, your body, your soul, your light body, your multidimensional selves. Right now, where we are located right now, where we are located in this energy field, we're at the 0 point. We are the 0 point right now. We're anchoring in all of that multidimensional energy. And if we can keep anchoring it in and keep becoming the better versions of ourselves, then we are clearing out all of the old conscious thoughts and behaviors of all the old timelines. So as we begin this new timeline in union with ourselves and with our divine partner, we are healing that inner child. We're healing the shadows, but we're not getting rid of them. We're integrating them back into ourselves. So the inner child is afraid to trust. our trust has been broken. And now it is time to end that bond with the trauma so that the trust can become whole again. We're rebuilding our trust in ourselves. We're rebuilding our trust in others. We are rebuilding our trust in our own inner strength. The karmic energy will keep replaying itself because we keep expecting the same thing. We keep expecting the same thing because we're staying bonded with the trauma. Like a lot of masculines that I counsel, that I talk to, one of the biggest things is, why do I keep doing the same thing? Why do I keep going back to the same type of women? Why do I look for her to do something different? And it's like she's going to be the same no matter what she looks like on the outside. The energy is going to be the same from that feminine because she's mirroring back to you what you're sending out. She's a direct reflection back to you of who you are, what you're playing out in this world, and how you truly see yourself. And that's kind of hard, because if you saw yourself in a different light, in a better light, then you would no longer go back to the thing that hurts you. So becoming a better version of yourself is so much needed for you to overcome the old timeline. And like I said before, as we're going into this new in 2023, not December to January, not man's time, okay, on cosmic time, on universal time, in this time matrix, as we go into March and April of next year, the spring, then guess what? You will be reborn. But now it's time for the old to die and go away. It's time for the new to start to show itself. And we are going to do that by ending the old bonds. And the most significant one is the bond that we have with our trauma. This is why everything is so traumatic. This is why the controllers of society want to instill trauma. They want to instill fear. Fear and the breaking of trust seals in trauma into the subconscious. It seals the trauma into the subconscious. And if you're sealing that trauma in, it will replay itself. Pure and simple. So now we're being asked to end that. We're being shown the way, so to speak. Your guides are showing you. And they're doing this, it's so significant because they're doing this through your daily interactions with people. They're doing this by bringing up the old for clearing. I've seen that 2023 was going to be the rise of the divine masculine. That through being shown that you're needed, and it's going to play out in various ways. Things will get crazy, your life will get hectic, but you're being shown that you are needed, that you are so much needed right now. Not to go out and fight a war against evil and all of that. No, you are needed to heal yourself. You are needed to heal this part of the collective energy so that the consciousness of man can evolve. And when we do that, we're able to now not live in the old bonds, to not live in the old unions, but to live in the new unions, which brings about the new world, a new world of energy, a new cycle, a new beginning. So the old has to go away. The reset, right? The RESET, the reset is about we. Because where we set, okay? Understand what I'm saying? Where we, W-E, set is now required for us to go back to. So we used to sit in a very high position. And now our crowns are being given back to us. They're being cleaned. They've been cleaned, I mean to say, and been dusted off. And now they're going to be given back. But heavy lies the crown. Heavy lies the crown. It's a lot of responsibility, divine masculines. So the old you has to go away, has to die. And the new you has to be reborn or born. But you as a consciousness are experiencing it all. But the hardest part is to actually allow that old relationship to die, the old relationship to self, because it was entered into, that old relationship with yourself was entered into through trauma, through mistrust. And until you're able to let that part go, that old bond go, and that's tough, because when you've been tied to something for so long, when you've been in union with something so long, you truly believe it's you. You truly believe it belongs to you. But to believe something means that you could be in a lie. To live in a holographic universe, to live in a place where time is not real, it's an aspect of the mind, allows things to display, allow your eyes to see something that is not true, that is not the whole truth. So you can beat a lie by believing something. But see, when you know something, when you know, you're living in the now. K-N-O-W. When you know, when you know something, then you're living in your now. So, know who you are. Know why you came. That starts with the remembering of your soul fractals, because they've been given back. In this soul game, where your energy is harvested, is taken, it's used for other entities to feast on, because they don't have the same energy you have. They live in a totally different energy matrix than you do. In this game, you've lost a lot. You've lost a lot of yourselves, your cells. You've lost a lot of your cells, which is yourself. And when you decide, you make a decision or incision into the programming that is going on in here, you're now able to pull back in your higher self, pull up your lower self. I mean, these terminologies are not just words. This is reality. You live in a reality. It's real. You have a higher self, you have a lower self, you have an inner self. As above, so below. As it is within, so it is without. You know, it's so much deception that sometimes you can get lost in the sauce. in this reality, your consciousness is linked to your soul energy. And the more of your soul fractals you can pull in, the more you can become conscious. You know, you've awoken. You're awake now. But are you conscious of that fact that you are awake? And if you are, then in the bond with trauma, in the relationship with your trauma, in that union. And when you do, that best version of yourself will step forward. You can give so much to others and don't give anything to yourself. So much so that you forget who you are. You forget about you. You forget that you are an important aspect of the whole collective also. And you're needed. You're needed. You know, as this energy, the most call it the 12-12 energy, you know, it's been coming in for the last 3 weeks. You know, that's why I said time is just not a figment of our imagination, but it's an aspect of this university, this university where we're learning a lot, but it's also a paradigm of the mind. It's a paradigm that we can be trapped in. And this is why we recycle. We recycle because when you get out of the body, it's you realize these things. You see with your real eye. And when you're out in the, how do I want to say it? When you're in the heart space of the universe, when you're in that heartbeat of the universe, then you understand that time is just a construct of man. It's a construct of this reality. In other realities, time doesn't exist. So, as you heal your inner child, as this energy, this 12-12 energy I was talking about, as it's coming in to bring us up another step.